something weird.
Okay.
Like that. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cubist. My name is Bill Corey. I am the Cubist. And we are back. Look at that, 2 weeks in a row. It's almost like we're back on something of a regular schedule. Kimberly Rebia is here. Hello, Kimberly.
Hi.
You realize that you're supposed to talk, so that way it makes noise, right?
Yeah, but then the camera comes to me.
Yes, that's the point. That's how that works. Patrick Hillier isn't afraid to talk to the camera. Hello, Patrick. I hate you. You're both terrible human beings. Damn it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Everything is great. All right. Hello, chat room. If any of you are here yet, they have changed how the format for the Google Live Hangout thing is. I used to have a link right down there that would tell me how many people were currently watching, and now it's gone. And I don't know why, but it is very annoying that it's gone.
Ollie oxen free. Does it say that we went live? Like when the tweet doesn't go, then it.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. It no longer automatically tweets out when the show actually goes live. So we have to do that manually as well. It's very annoying.
Wow.
This is part of why I was grumpy about YouTube a month and a half ago.
Well, why don't you push that tweet and I'll retweet it?
Why don't you just retweet the tweet that's already there?
Brown chicken, brown cow. Because the people like the one
that says we are live now and 2 people are watching. So that would be me and Kimberly.
Well, there you go. That's very exciting.
We get to talk to ourselves.
Whatever. We'll figure it out.
It's what I do anyhow.
Yeah, I was going to say, here, I tell you what, I'm going to put in I'm going to do this thing as soon as I can figure out how to. Oh, man, this is the most professional we have ever been. We are so good at things. All right, look, Kimberly.
Sir.
You are going to be in charge of this tweet, because if I open TweetDeck, it'll kill my internet connection.
I cannot be in charge.
So there you go.
Tweet, my dear.
You sure can. I believe in you.
I don't have the Twitter stitch.
Yeah, but you have you. It'll be fine. Just tag it. Anyway, let's get the show. God, what is wrong with us today? It's like we've never done. This is episode 108, and we have no idea what we're doing. I don't understand. Fine. There. See, we have a human. Outstanding. Hello, Nathan. How's it going?
Nathan and I were just chatting.
All right. Rules are not meant to be broken. Tonight, we're going to talk about rules that we have gotten wrong in board games, and specifically how that happens and things that you can do to avoid it. We'll try and actually say some helpful crap, too, along the way. And I'm sure we will end up tangenting into house rules and specifically like some rules that you get wrong that you end up finding make the game more interesting, which I think happens more often than we would like to admit. Like, we've always played it this way. That sentence is one of those sentences that I think drives half of the community nuts and the other half completely understands. So, but we'll get there. First, let's talk about games we have played recently, because we have to. Patrick, I'm going to make you go first because you've got
trekking. What is it called? Trek? I can't read it.
The national parks. If only the box was right behind you, so you could have turned around and looked at it.
I could have. So let me look it up here. Trekking the national park. So we were in the game store with a gift card from my birthday, burning a hole in my pocket, and Cindy wanted to get Potion Explosion, and I said no.
You're a smart man.
I offered this instead. No, I like it, but I figured I could get it used pretty cheap, because
that's valid. There were multiple copies for sale at G2S this year. Yeah.
Right. And Eric said, yeah, I could have given it to you had I known at G2S you wanted it. I didn't know I wanted it because we have gizmos, and I really like gizmos. I'm sure I've talked about it. So we already have a marble picking game. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about trekking, and we are Star Trek people. So we like being trekking anyway.
Oh my God.
This has been on my radar. I like the company that puts this out. I think they also do a dog game.
They also do
underdog games. Don't they do agility or?
Oh, did they do? They maybe did agility.
Maybe. Sure. Anyway, I'm totally lost here. I've seen this at cons and wanted to check it out before. So, but it's a little pricey. So it's like $50, and it's $50 on Amazon. It's $50 at my FLGS, and it's $50 at CSI. It's what it is. It is huge, like giant playboard, and It's kind of like Ticket to Ride, in that you are collecting these cards that have numbers and symbols on them, and you are using them to claim parks. So there's all these national parks that are real national parks around the country, and you flip them up, and they're all available for, instead of being hidden like in Ticket to Ride, they are available in front of everyone. And you just have to use the cards either as movement to move your little guy around the board, your little camper, and he's got a little cute little backpack on him, and you move him around the board. And once you get to a spot, if you have, one bear paw and one Christmas tree looking card and one yellow, I don't know what the yellow cards were, fire, I think, then you can claim the Grand Tetons card and get 7 points. Okay. And the game ends when somebody's collected 5 of these beautiful, it's like you're taking pictures of them while you're there. It's kind of the theme.
Okay.
And it's cute. It's cute. It's like I said, it's very much like Ticket to Ride. So you're drawing these cards until you get the right hand, and trying to have the most efficient route to move around. And very close scoring game. We played a 1-2 player game, and I think we got 49 to 51. So, on the Cubist scale, I'd definitely give it a play it, because it's pretty light, similar to other things. But if you like the pretty pictures and the idea of visiting these parks and thinking about them, like, there was the one, Hocking Hills, the one nearby us, was in there. And it's like, hey, I've been there, or I'd like to go there. There's a lot of the discussion that happens in the game.
Very cool. It is Bink Inc. is the company you were talking about. The dog themed game they did is called Pups.
Pups. Okay, I knew
That's
they did
the one that they did.
I don't know what the hell that is, but it sounds adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I don't know anything more about it than that. I just looked it up on BGG while we were talking.
Right.
I'm assuming. Hang on. I'm assuming this is the second edition of Tracking the National Parks.
Yes,
right.
I have the second edition.
Okay.
Yeah, it just came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to be funny because I am a little bit astonished that this game had enough shelf life that it warranted a second edition. That's one of those things.
Well, I think it's pretty small, self-published. I mean, it has there's like a little flyer in the box, like, hey, we're the couple that made this game. Go and rate it for us, Okay. BGG.
Got it.
And he's like, hey, can we write a review of this so they get some attention? Which is kind of cute because she's, she doesn't do a lot of the social media or, board game related stuff with me.
That's cute. Did she rate it, or did she make you rate it?
No. She wants us to do, like, good. Maybe I would do it like a Punchboard Media write up on it. Or
oh, that's cute.
She would help me do that.
It looks like I'm screen sharing right now. This is a picture that Eric Yurko of What's Eric Playing took of the game. So at least it has been covered a little bit, which is awesome. And it does look like it has really nice components, especially if it's a micro publisher. You know what I mean? That's a pretty impressive production for that. That's not bad.
Right. No. Yeah. And actually the only complaint we had was it's just too big. I mean, it took up an entire table and big giant cards, which have lots of nice art, but it's like, oh, let's get out the dinger thingers so we can like put these vertically, because
dinger thingers.
We couldn't fit everything on the table that we were playing at. And I can only imagine it with the full complement of 5 people, how much space it would take.
Sure. Speaking of games that are huge table hogs and end up being fairly light, I got a chance to play Crusaders Thy Will Be Done by Tasty Minstrel this past Saturday.
Did you play the deluxeified version, Billiard, with a knife?
I did play the deluxeified version with the knife. I never got to touch the knife because I was not the first player. And really the only purpose of the knife is to indicate who took the first turn of the game so everybody gets equal terms. It is officially the most overblown start player marker I can think of in the history of ever, because
that could be a whole other show.
You can stab people.
I can already stab people. I did not. I mean, I didn't pay for the game.
Same.
So I don't really care, right?
That was the most redeeming quality of the game, I thought.
Yeah.
Was that nice?
So the quick version of the game to me is a little bit of a Trajan light. You have a rondel in front of you with 6 sections. You pick up and drop off tokens. The number of tokens on the section you pick up from is the strength of the action. And the wedges that you have are randomized theoretically every game, so that way you can't get into too much of a rhythm between games. It is then basically that drives actions, whether they're moving your knights around on the map or fighting the other peoples that are on the map, and therefore earning lots of victory points. And it is sort of a very light point salad kind of game. I'm going to say 2 things about the game that are negative, but don't think I hated it because I didn't. The first thing is I'm not a super big fan of this theme. I don't really love the idea of the Crusades in general and how they went. So I'm not a big fan of the theme. That has been talked about ad nauseum, however. So I tried very hard to not think too hard about that when I was playing the game and just play the game for what it is. The second thing I'm going to say is that I think the game is deceptively light for the amount of work you have to put into it to get it to the table. There's a lot of setup and a lot of BS to set up just to play a game that ends up being a fairly light 45 to 60 minute Euro game. Neither of those things make it bad, but both of them make it something that I was not blown away by. I think there is a market for this game, and I think it's not me. So I'm going to give this game a solid play it. I don't think it's bad. I do think the theme could have been done better, but I don't think everybody's going to be bothered by the theme because war games are still a thing, right? Like people killing people is still a thing we do in games.
Yes, and I think that generally war themes actually address it with like a little bit of historical context and stuff, and they're more thematic. I think this is just painted on, but
yeah. Well, and I agree with that. Really, the purpose of the for lack of a better term, others on the map that you are murdering is to slow down expansion in the game. It's really there as a source of victory points and a way to kind of pace the game, because otherwise it would be very easy to just race across the board and build a bunch of things. And really, that almost adds to how people could be upset by the theme, because they're not only very obviously other, but they are very obviously unimportant and easily steamrolled. And that's just, there's a lot here. There's a lot here that I don't love, but it's not the actual design of the game is fine. Now I'll say positive things. The component quality is excellent. The knife is stupid, but everything else in there, the deluxeified pieces that are the little plastic miniatures are actually less cool than the wooden pieces that just came with the damn game. Like I would rather just play with the wood buildings rather than the plastic. I didn't find the plastic to be particularly compelling at all. Other than that, it feels very, I don't know. The tracks where you take the buildings off of when you build them onto the map are basically tech tracks that the farther you go down a track, you are unlocking more options and eventually an end game scoring trigger. But none of that is more important than the points that you can earn on the actual map. I will say that I don't generally like the Mancala mechanic. Like that was one of the big stumbling blocks for me with Trajan, because it's too hard for me. And maybe I'm just not smart enough. Maybe other players are, I'm just outing myself as being less intelligent than other gamers. But for me, the trying to get the colors to line up while also playing Mancala effectively to take the actions in Trajan was a bridge too far, and I didn't enjoy it. This at least takes the colors out of it and makes the Mancala mechanic manageable, even if you're not good at it. It just, to me, felt like it simplified it in an interesting way that made that not part of the problem, but part of the solution. So I'll give it credit for that. It's a tasty minstrel game, which means the presentation is always good. Like, I mean, they never do a bad job on mechanics and graphic design. Their quick reference cards are hysterically useless, though. They give you these little tiles that are about yay big, and they've got just nothing but icon vomit all over them, that once you play the game, you can actually sort of use it. But the first time you sit down, you're like, this means nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing here. Like the best use I can come up for this is to fidget with it while I'm actually learning the game, because it does nothing to actually help you learn it.
But fidgets are so good.
Yes, it's fine. I don't know. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It is mechanically sound. I wonder at how highly ranked it is, because I don't think that's that good. Looking at BGG, it seems to have a lot of very big fans, and I don't understand that, but I think it's a fine game. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't think, to me, you remember when we did the episode 2 months ago and we talked about a lot of solid 7s in the world and how 7s weren't good enough? This is a solid 7. Like, this is a 7 of a game all day.
I'd agree with that.
So that is Crusaders Thy Will Be Done by Tasty Minstrel Games, designed by Seth Jaffe, by the way. Art, the friend of mine, Adam McIver, is the one that did the art, and the art is excellent. I will say that. Like, it's really good. It's a very visually pleasing game all the way around. They hit every visual button on the head. The component quality is good. It's fine. It's just not my kind of game, so it's a play it. There you
go. Before we jump over, how do I screen share?
You guys are going to get so many looks behind the curtain. If you hover over the hangout window, top left, the second thing down should be a green TV screen with an arrow.
All right, so I'm going to screen share.
Oh man,
Real
it's not after dark
yet. See the bear?
Yes.
That's
so that is the first player marker from trekking the national parks. It's this cute little bear.
That's pretty darn cute.
That's less stupid than an actual metal knife.
Right.
I got to stab people with that knife.
You already owned knives. You could have stabbed
Nobody
them
lets me have real knives, Bill. Nobody.
Am I not screen sharing now?
You are not screen sharing now. Well done.
It is back to your face, sir.
Super.
Good job.
All right. Should I talk about a thing?
Hey, Amber Jen 87's here.
Yes. Hello.
So we had a little conversation about about her name.
You should talk about the thing.
Okay.
Talk about the thing, Kimberly.
I will talk about Escape Plan, designed by Vital Lacerda and published by Eagle Griffin Games.
About cars?
Is that
huh?
Is that you talking about things, or are you going to go further?
That's it. That's all I'm going to say. No, I'm going to talk about it. That's it. I'm done. So Escape Plan, for people who do not know, takes place right after you have committed a heist. Woohoo! And now you need to collect your money and get out in time. So it's actually, if you've played any other Vital games like Lacerda, oh my goodness. The Gallerist, Lisboa. That's it. I'm going to bed.
Kanban.
Kanban. Yeah, Kanban's my favorite game. This one is a little bit lighter than Vital's other designs. It's still not light by any stretch of the imagination, though. Each player has their own escape plan, which is like your end game goals. Your things are worth different points, like different entry points that you can hit. They're worth either money in game or end game victory points. And on your turn, you get, I believe it was 3. I've only played it once. I'm sorry. 3 move points to do different actions, 3 action points, whatever you want to call it. And you can either try to hit one of your objectives, move, and you have to travel. So you spend them to travel, you spend them to activate a thing. You can collect money that you've stashed, but you always are having to evade the police, which is interesting because I was very opposed to getting shot, because you get shot. You're going to get shot. There's no escaping that. But I did everything in my damn power not to get shot every time I had to leave a location. I changed my routes from what I ideally wanted to do. I was like, I will not get shot today. But you can hire these little gang members who look like the guys from Paperboy, that NES game.
Okay.
They do. No, they look so much. I was dying. It made me so happy.
Let's see if I can find a picture. Keep going.
Here. Boop, 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 boop. I mean, it's going to be terrible because it's bright screen to bright screen. I love you. It's on my Instagram. You can.
Nice.
But they look like little guys, and they will shoot the police for you, essentially. And you can do things like hire assistance. And some of the locations, you get these keys, which in this deluxe version are actual like little metal keys. So I was calling it a key party because I am me. the keys
Oh,
you
my
can use to
goodness.
unlock lockers that have varying amounts of money stashed in them, basically, and the different colored keys are difficulty for unlocking the lockers, which obviously the more difficult, the higher value.
Sure.
But it's a fun game. It has a little bit of take that, which is not a thing I've ever seen in a Vital game before.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting, and it's quick playing. The theme did feel a little bit pasted on, but I don't really give a damn. I'm the least thematic gamer, so that doesn't bother me. It does bother other people, I think. It's all beautifully produced. It's Ian O'Toole art and graphic design, which is always absolutely fabulous. When Ian does anything design-wise, it's pretty easy to tell what you're doing always. Here we go. You're showing. Make sure you're saying whose pictures you're showing, though, because I don't know who you're showing.
I'm just pulling pictures off of BGG.
Oh, okay.
New Rev, it looks like.
Okay.
These are the player pieces from it.
Yep, there's a little player, guys. So you've got your little briefcase and you're running. And each round you're going to add hexes to the board, which can change your escape route. You don't know where your actual exit's going to be until the third round, unless unless it gets sorry, I'm just reading the chat too.
You're gonna make
Chevy,
it?
not Steve. No, because I'm reading the chat and looking at your pictures now. You distracting mofos. Yes. But you have to get out, so you have to be able to actually escape in the game and use your points. Yeah, see, there's the Paperboy guys. See him?
And the cops.
And the cops.
In their multicolored riot gear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's my friends. Yeah. Don't they look like the guys from Paperboy? They look like the motorcycle.
A little bit, yes.
Guys from Paperboy. Anyhow, back on topic. My apologies.
Liar.
You have to get out on time, so you have to have enough action points to actually escape at the end of the game. And there are a fair amount of people who I've seen on social media that don't manage to escape. It's a thing. So then
a fair number of people. There's a story in here.
There's a fair amount of people who miscalculate the amount of moves they're going to need to get out and then screw themselves over. It seems to be a fairly common thing. The first time people play it, they count their action wrong and then they can't actually escape.
Oops.
And then you obviously have no shot of winning the game if you cannot escape. It is called escape plan.
Yes, that is how that goes.
Yes.
So, for the record, I want to have an episode about does theme matter, because I feel like the chat room has different interesting points here, and I feel like this is a discussion I would like to have in much greater depth. But for right now, escape plan: buy it, play it, forget it, or burn it.
Ooh, I'm actually going to only call it a play it, which for a Vital game and me, that's rare.
Really?
I would need more plays to decide if I thought it was a buy it.
Okay.
There were 4 simultaneous tables playing this game at one time at the event we were at, though. Mm-hmm. There were like 60 people and 4 tables playing this game.
Okay.
So.
Very cool. So I'm not going to lie. I was very sad when I wasn't able to back this one when it first came around. And then On Mars, the next Vital Lacerda, just finished its Kickstarter. And one of the pledge levels on there was every Kickstarter game that Eagle Griffin and Vital Lacerda have done together in one massive thing. So it would have been the Gallerist and On Mars and this and Lisboa and all the stuff. And I was really, really tempted. It was a $573 pledge level, which is why I didn't do it because Jesus, but I was really interested. And the On Mars thing seems to indicate that there will be a after pledge manager. So that may still happen in my future. But I love the idea behind this one.
I really thought I found the theme to be pretty unique and interesting. There aren't a lot of heist themed games. Not that there are none. There definitely are a handful. Mm-hmm. There's like Burgle Bros. And
I was going to say Burgle Bros was the first thing that popped into my mind.
10-minute heist or something like that. Yeah, there are other heist games, but this one's heavier than
How to Rob a Bank. Sitting over here.
Is that just you robbing a bank, Patrick? Because that's
I never played it.
So it's not just how you spend a Friday night. There's an actual game called
yes. Yeah, there's a game called that. How to rob a
Okay.
bank. It came free when you bought
When you rob a bank.
the painting
Oh,
game. Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
ad.
Oh,
Buy
the art
Bob
of
Ross, get
chill.
robbing a bank free. Okay.
Buy this, get this for free. It's got to be good if it comes
I was going to
free.
say that's a mark of a quality game. Nice.
Oh, Cash and Guns. That's a good call.
Oh yeah, Cash and Guns. Duh.
It's a very good call. All right. So, did you get any rules wrong when you played, Kimberly?
How about how
I
many
don't know. I
times
didn't
they're
teach
supposed
it.
to move? She already said that.
So,
I
that's
mean,
right.
we didn't get that wrong. I was not using. I didn't quite understand my action points, though, and I wasn't using as many as I should have been ever.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you sort of got a rule wrong. You just accidentally penalized yourself instead of cheating.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then I went over and saw Maho's table with people playing and watched them play after he finished, and I was like, oh. I could have been doing that differently.
So that was my clumsy attempt at a segue for those of you that are keeping score at home. Tonight we wanted to talk about rules that we got wrong, and this whole idea came from the conversation that we had last week on the show. And I'm going to just start by admitting my shame. I get rules wrong a lot, especially when I am learning a game for the first time and trying to teach it along with that learn. And I have read a lot of articles over the years from people saying things like, well, you should always play a dummy game first by yourself and set everything up and work through all of that. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't have time for that.
I was going to say, not everybody has time to do that.
I straight up don't have enough time to spend 3 hours setting up and playing a multiplayer solo version of a game just to try and get the rules under my belt. I'm excited if I can get 3 hours in front of a table, period, at this point. So, like a lot of games, you read the rules as quickly as you feel like is functional. And then you and your friends kind of give her hell. And like Ben in the chat has been here, and we've muddled through games a couple of times together, and I've done it with other people as well. And that's not the best thing, but unfortunately, it's the reality of it. So let's talk about why that happens. I mean, the obvious one is time, right? Like if you don't have. And personally, I get a little bit cranky when I read all these people writing these things about how, well, if you are the sort of person that just muddles your way through a game, I never want to play games with you. Well, okay, good for you. Then enjoy the 2 people you play games with, like it really does.
I'm a real pain in the ass to teach games too. I will own that. I don't like an uncertainty.
You're hard to teach too?
I am hard for people to teach games to. Yes.
Why is that?
Because she looks at her phone and is looking around.
No, well, I need
tweeting.
It's not usually my phone, but I do need input for output for input. I mean, I need to be doing something with my hands in order to focus, or I will have a continual count of people moving around behind me, and I'm easily distracted. But that's not actually what I mean. I take in when people don't think I am, and then I'll win, and that kills people, which is amazing. Daniel hates it. He doesn't ever think I'm paying attention, and then I'll win a game. And he's like, God damn it. And I'm like, I was paying attention. You have to let me doodle in order to focus. But I don't like it when people try to teach from the rule book. So I would rather play a game after. I'd rather be taught a game after somebody's already played it. I'm far less likely to just sit at the table while you muddle through a game the first time.
Okay.
But I know that about myself. I know that I will check out at some point. So I just don't put myself in that position generally. Now, there are varying games, so it doesn't always apply, obviously. Like a 10-minute game or a 20-minute game with 1-page rule sheet is a different thing than a Vital Lacerda game. I'm not going to stick myself with 3 other people for 3 hours in a good teach where a game takes 3 hours, where people know how to play it, where nobody knows how to play it. It's going to take 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I will just check. Some people can still stay engaged and pay attention. I cannot. And I know myself well enough to know that. And I have just stopped doing that. I'll say like, I would love to play that with you in 2 weeks after you've played it. I don't need to play things as soon as they come out either, though.
Okay. Yeah, like you caught a little bit of flack online for saying that you finally got a chance to play Escape Pen, and
I know, and that's not what I meant. I just meant it was the third time that I'd been invited to
Yes.
in like 4 days, and I just couldn't go to any of the things. And I was like, this time I'm actually going to go to the thing and play.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's not what I mean. Yeah.
That was me. For the record, that was me saying that out loud to address it in case somebody tried to call you out on that in a hot second here, because it's, I agree with you that I know that that's not how you are. So as far as that level of being prepared before you teach a game, that is a matter of you and what you are capable of.
Yeah, that's my ability to focus.
Right. And I just want to really address that as well, because I think that is not everybody. And I don't think that this is one of those things where I think some people, and I'm not saying some people are just better at it than others, but some people are more willing to sit through that than others. And so this is what I was talking about, is that it makes me crazy when, like, you are allowed to not like that, but to condemn that is different. Right. Like, and that's sort of the part that I'm just trying to make that distinction in my head as much. And I guess I'm just thinking out loud because we're having kind of a scattered night. But yeah, no, in general, like, if I sit down at a table with somebody that offers to teach me a game, and the first thing they do is they open the rule book to page 1 and they start reading flavor text, I'm like, no,
burn it down, burn it down. Yeah.
I'm like, no. Now, there have definitely been some games where I have been teaching the game and referencing things in the rule book, but I have already read the rule book before I got to that point. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hello? Did I lose everybody? Okay, my monitor just betrayed me.
Oh.
Yep, but I lost video on my end at my actual computer. So, Patrick,
yes,
carry on for just a hot second while I fix things.
Sure. Well, you're talking about heavier things like, the starter gamers or whatever. I mean, I can't pre-learn a game by not having it in front of me. That's a challenge for me personally.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I can't go to BGG and like read the rules in advance and then just go to BGG and like play a big giant game. I might watch a video and familiarize myself with it, but I still need somebody to teach it with me.
Yeah,
teach it to me.
I'm not a stickler though. Like, I don't have to win the first time I play, and if something was taught wrong, that's okay. Like, if we miss a small rule, like, I'm not going to be upset about that. I understand that it's a thing that, upsets other people because every time they have to win, but I don't play my first game to win. I play my first game to learn the game.
It's a learning game. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had a funny story for this conversation. I was trying to think back of games where I've screwed up rules in a big way, and just happened to post my rant about pandemic or legacy games today, and thinking way back to Pandemic Legacy Season 1, which I won't spoil yet, but we went into it, and this kind of leads into this. We went into it thinking, oh, we know how to play this, right? We know how to play Pandemic. And we just set it up and we started playing, and we did something. There was some twist. I don't even remember what it was, because this was 5 years ago. We know how to play Pandemic Legacy or Pandemic, and we played something, and we didn't do something like that was easier. Like when you reset the game, you get some points, and you can like
where you can buy
some things back, and we didn't do that, so we lost like within 2 games or 2 sessions. We lost 4 and opened up that box.
Nice.
The loser box.
Yes. You're doing very poorly.
Yeah, Bob. You're doing so bad. You get to open this box. So we got to open that box, and then I was like, you know what? We probably, let me reread the rules between this game and the next game. And I was like, oh my crap. we got all these, we should have all these extra points. So we like bought all this crap that we were supposed to have and fixed the board and did a little bit better between then and the next game. So then I just, I became the rules lawyer like I normally am. And I was like, all right, we're going to, every game, we're going to open it up to the setup and follow, with the steps, and end game, we're going to follow the steps and make sure we do it right, because we were getting sloppy and being stupid. But it was kind of funny. But anyway, that whole thing was actually, like you, we didn't really care. We were just
I mean, it's if you're enjoying the play,
Right.
it's an entirely different thing. I think that often we'll learn it, like people get really excited to play their newest game that was
Yes.
delivered, especially when they're Kickstarter things, right? And I go to a game group that there will often be multiple copies of the same game because people are like, yeah, let's definitely play that, but nobody actually knows how to play it.
See, I'm just not in that big of a hurry.
I'm not either. I will usually bow out and play a different game. I will play that in 2 weeks when you guys are still playing it and somebody knows how to damn play the game. But it's fun to watch and see how like two tables will be playing things differently because, somebody's wrong.
Yeah.
Like they'll be, one of you is not doing this right. And that's okay.
Or they're spending 10 minutes studying the rule book or...
Yes, or that, or there's a million rules questions and continually checking the book. And these are usually fairly heavy games because the game groups I go to are both fairly heavy gamers. And there's just a lot of that. It'll be like, well, I watched the gaming rules video, so I got this. And then somebody else will be like, well, I soloed it. I can teach it. And then there'll be somebody who's like, I have read the rules twice. And then they'll combine to try to teach. And it's usually a shit show.
There's a first swear word of the night, by the way.
No, it's not. I said hell earlier.
That's not a swear word.
Oh, I mean, it is. Billiard.
Your camera is focused excellently, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
It's because I was leaning on my keyboard. I was not trying to give you a peep show, kids.
Thank you.
I'm going to change into pajamas, like a onesie before we do the After Dark. But I think that the ability for people with brand new games to get the rules wrong is really high, right? Is that just my groups or is that everybody?
No, that's pretty common.
Okay.
It's everybody. And I think part of it is that there's that natural excitement of, ooh, we got a new game. We want to try it. I spent money on this. I'd like to get some mileage out of it. I think that is a very, at least from my perspective, a very prevalent feeling is that, this game is new and it's supposed to be really good, or this game is new and I just spent $100 on it, or this game has been on my shelf for a year and it's still in the shrink and I'm irritated. Like, I feel like all three of those are reasons why we end up hurrying to try and get games to the table and maybe don't give them the proper attention that would be ideal. But I also will stick by the thing that I said at the beginning of this conversation, which is that who has time to do all that? I just straight up don't. And I like playing solo games. I enjoy just setting up a game and sitting and dicking around with it for a couple hours, but we don't have time to do it anymore. It's just not a thing. So, or at least not for me. And I'm watching, while I was trying to fix all the nightmares that my computer is giving me, I was checking the chat a little bit, and it looks like the chat room has some stuff to say about this as well. So like Nathan is saying, I go first to video, then prefer to have someone teach. You're bad at teaching game you haven't played. That's a good point. And I think that's a very distinctive skill too, right? Is the ability to teach something that you have not personally played yet. And that is a skill that exists. There are definitely people that are good at it. I'm not sure that I am one of them, although I try to be, because I have to a lot, because that's part of what I do. I don't know. But I think that hurry to try and get games to the table, and it's exaggerated a little bit with folks that like to pretend we are media creator types like me, where I feel like I need to play new stuff. I'm much less about that than I was a couple of years ago when we first started. Like when the Cubist first started, I really wanted to play latest and greatest all the time, so that way I would always have something to talk about. And I think that the good news about there being so many friggin' people doing this is that you can leave that to other folks now, right? I no longer need to be bleeding edge because I just don't care that much anymore. I don't know. I just don't. So, sorry. Chat room already thinks I'm a grumpy guest anyway, so there's that. All right. So let's talk about specific rules we've gotten wrong. So as a great example, Crusaders Thy Will Be Done. I watched the video from Rodney. I think it was Watch It Play that I watched. I think Rodney did it. Yeah. And watched the video, read the rule book, was like, okay, I pretty much got this. And then promptly forgot a rule when I taught it on Saturday. And the rule that happens. Yeah. Well, but it happens to be a lot. And I have certain friends that like to give me a bunch of crap about it.
Is it
And
Ben?
no, Ben occasionally, but actually Ben's not too bad about it, because usually when Ben and I are learning a game, we're learning it together, and I will straight up say, "Hey Ben, we're going to muddle through this. You okay with that?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's fine, whatever." No, I've had other friends that have flipped out about it. And who was it? I think it was Thomas way back in the um and way back up there, said something along the lines of, when people complain because you missed one rule,
Oh yeah.
and then they say something like, "Well, I would have done so much better if you'd have gotten." Oh, here it is. Yep. Worst of the people that get mad at the teacher of a game for one mistake. "I would have won if it wasn't for you not being clear enough." Well, then you read the rules.
Oh, I hate that.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know what? Like, you are absolutely allowed, and I'm not, no one person specific, but if, as a gamer, you are absolutely allowed to prefer that somebody have the rules under their belt. What you are not allowed to do is, if that person is doing the work of attempting to teach the rule, to be a dick if they
Yep.
screw something up. Like,
I
just
agree.
don't. It's not. I don't know. I already beat myself up enough when I screw up rules, right? Like, there are a lot of games. Like, I mean, and it happens fairly often because I am always the rules teacher, right? Like, in my group, I am 100% of the time the person that is teaching the game. It feels like, well, maybe not 100%. Let's call it 95%. But I'm almost always the person teaching. And so I have a lot of rule books kind of bouncing around in my head that I'm trying to remember. And we're going to make mistakes. When you leave it to one person, Jamie, you're awesome. Peace out. Yeah, I don't know what Ben's deal is. When you're constantly the one teaching the rules, you're going to make mistakes. And I tell everybody this: the first time you play a game, and I heard you two saying this, I just want to chime in here. Whenever you play your first game, if you are playing it with the intent of playing to win and being competitive, you're doing it wrong, my humble opinion. Like, the first game should just be about, let's get the rules figured out and let's see if this is a game worth playing. Yeah. Not, oh my God, I have to find optimal strategy within the first 20 minutes of this 2-hour Euro, or else I'm not going to be happy. I don't understand those people at all.
Yeah.
And I never will. I don't think. That's just not how I roll. So, by the way, Tom, I saw above where you said that I was not stupid, and I appreciate that. Thank you. I just wanted to point out that So let's talk about funny rules that you've gotten wrong.
Oh my.
Yeah. I know one that I want Kimberly to tell the story of, and I don't know if she will, because it's the only time I've ever heard about a major rule that my friend Kimberly has gotten wrong in a game. So I'm going to give you a hot second to see if you can remember what I'm talking about.
Is it a game I played with you?
Nope. No, I just heard about it. Power Grid was one of the first heavy Euros that I fell really deeply in love with. And I never realized until about, probably 8-9 years after I played it for the first time, that auctions go clockwise around the table, not in player order. Like, everything else in that game is the player order based on who has built the most stuff, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, auctions are not. And that made no sense to me when I found out that was a rule that we had been playing wrong forever and ever and ever. And the way that I found out about it is my dad running a power auction event at Gaming Hoopla many years ago, and somebody flipped out at him, like lost her damn mind, and started yelling at him, "If you're going to teach a game, if you're going to run an event, you better know how to play by the rules. And that is not the rules as written." And like started yelling at him. And my dad,
joyous thing.
Yeah, I know, right? And my dad at the time was in his late 60s, and he just looked at her and he said, "I'm not talking to you anymore."
Good for him.
If you want to continue playing the game, you can. If you don't want to continue playing the game, that's fine too. And she was like, "Well, I just protest because I could have," and like, wow.
Yeah, I would have won if you hadn't done shit.
If the auctions had been in the correct order, whatever.
Those people are so fun to play games with.
Yes. Well, that's the hyper competitive folks, right? Like, those are those people that they just their purpose for playing games is to win, not to play the game. And
see, and I'd consider myself pretty competitive, but not in an I need to win, more in an I need to challenge myself.
Yes. Yes. I don't get mad if I lose a game. I get mad if I do something stupid in a game that causes me to lose. Like, I'm mad at myself for doing something dumb, not because I lost, right?
Right.
It's different. But I think there are some people that are just like that. So I don't know. But anyway, that was the first example that popped into my head when we talked about this topic in the first place, is that I just remember how bad this woman lost her mind. Kimberly, the example I was trying to get you to remember was the colonists.
Oh, that's actually what I was going to talk about.
Yes.
That was the
Nailed
first
it.
game that I thought of. I mean, it's not like I learned the game. I was taught the game, but we played the colonists wrong the first time we played it. We were just traveling through tiles and we were playing as if you didn't have to take the action on the tile when you passed through it or landed on it, that it was like optional, which is incorrect.
Yes. And really changes the game pretty profoundly.
Yeah. I mean, I've played it since then a couple of times, but
sure.
Yes, it sure as hell does. And it also makes it go quicker because you're not taking as many actions.
Yeah. Yes. What's funny is that when Kimberly and I first talked about this, I think it was when I went out to G2S, right? Was the time
probably.
we had this? I think it was my G2S trip. And she was saying something like, yeah, we knocked out a game of it in like 2 hours. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
No,
what?
We played it an hour. It was roughly an hour an era. So 4 hours. I think we played it in 3.5 hours the first time. And then the consecutive plays were all about 4 hours. So we still played fast because the X and I both play quickly. That's just how we play games. Most people do not. I have like 2 other friends that play really fast. I'm learning to adjust to other people a little bit better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we played quickly, a little bit too quickly. And also he read a thing wrong and we were doing it wrong. But even in a 4-hour game where it could have been a 7-hour game, I still wasn't mad like that. I thought it was funny. Yeah. I think he was a little upset with himself, but I was like, that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that after the fact, it was like, yep, I see how that could be a thing. I thought maybe you were talking about the game that I played with my lovely and Cal brothers at G2S.
Which was that?
Ilos or something? Paul would know. It's a little island game, but you're supposed to be like continually collecting your loot, I think, every round, and I was not. I think I was doing it like when you would land on a place, I would take it, but then I wasn't continuing to take it like consecutively each round. So at the end of the game, it was like, I think my score, yeah, there we go. It should have been like 100 and something points, and I had like 18. And Paul was like, no, you were doing well. I don't understand. And then they just lost it. But also I had a cider and I don't drink. So, you know,
sure.
I had an alcohol.
Yes.
And that did not help.
And there's something to be said for that too, like is giving yourself a little bit of a break based on the circumstances under which you play or teach a game or learn a game too. Like I have discovered many, many years ago that if I try to learn games while I'm hungry, it's useless.
My kid is like that.
Yeah, like it's just if I have failed to eat all day and then I'm trying to learn something, I am just a useless pile of crap at the table. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you and maybe that's just my Batman powers coming into effect. I don't know what it is, but for some reason, like that is just one of my things that I cannot do. All right, Patrick, did you give a good example of a rule that you got wrong?
I did one earlier, but I got another one.
Patrick.
So Cindy and I love the game Bonanza.
Yes.
It's a classic, right? And we were taught it, and then we picked it up and we played it a lot. And then we sat down to play with some other people, and we were corrected that we've been playing it wrong forever. That we were not the card thing. That's a pretty obvious one, I would think. No, trading. We were allowing these complicated trades where like you could trade with him and then he can trade with me to allow me to trade with them to allow, and these complex trades were happening to allow these trades to occur. And like,
there are no 3 ways in bean trading, Patrick.
Yeah, no, 3 ways can occur, but not in Bonanza. Sorry, it's not late night yet.
Good Lord.
All trading must occur with the active player is the actual rule, and I had to find that out, check that out.
And the results of every trade must be planted.
Yeah, that is
yes. That's the other way that you say
that's another thing people often screw up. Like,
Yep. As a matter of fact, I just taught that game a couple weeks ago to some new folks that are interested in gaming, and this is always one of the games that I pull out when I'm sort of trying to
It's a
tempt
pretty
people
good
to the
one.
dark side, because it is one of those games that rewards you for being not a jerk.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's true.
being a nice person actually pays in Bonanza, usually
Right.
very, very handsomely.
Right.
And so I like teaching people that game early on in their gaming careers because it sort of encourages everybody to play nice and also weeds out the dickheads. So that way I don't invite them back. Like if I find people that don't enjoy the nice part of that, those are typically people that I'm not probably going to enjoy playing games with in the future anyway. So it's a good litmus test.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's that. I think my problem with Bonanza is that I bought that game the year it came out.
Wow.
And it didn't their English copy and rules didn't exist. I bought the German version of it. So like mine is still like the Rotabona and the Augenbona, and so all of my beans have funny nicknames because I never learned the real names of them. So there's Rock'em Sock'em beans and potty beans and pukey beans and all kinds of stuff. I can't even call them the right names if I wanted to. But my point is I don't have an English rule book. So like you're supposed to
pulling it out of your butt.
Well, no, I just have to always try and figure out, okay, it's 5 cards, right? Yes, it's 5 cards. Okay. Which beans do you pull out for this player count? I have no idea. So
that's the thing I hate about that game.
Yeah. So I'm sure I always have the wrong beans in the deck when I teach it, but also I don't care that much.
I really don't think that's hypercritical in that game.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right. Have you ever gotten a rule wrong that ruined a game? And the answer for me is a heartfelt, oh God, yes, a number of times.
Yeah.
What's the worst example, like the most painful example you can think of?
Oh, I don't know.
Besides the colonists.
I mean, I still feel like even in the colonists, it wouldn't have, I don't know.
Sure.
I think I'm too relaxed for it to feel like anything ruins a game usually. Oh, I know a thing that I mean, and I was not taught wrong, but I just somehow missed it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty big one in the Gallerist.
Uh-oh.
Yep. I didn't realize that you had to, have a matching card in order to put a painting in your gallery? There's some other, I wasn't taking some action required to put things in my gallery. And I realized towards the end of the game, I watched somebody else do it. And I was like, oh no, I've been doing this all wrong. So I just dedicated my last, and I was able to make it up that way, like my last 4 turns or whatever that were left in the game. And I just fixed what I had already done.
Sure.
Which then upset one of the other players because she was like, no, you're doing too much. You're just extra penalizing yourself. And I was like, no, it's my fault though. Like, I'm not just going to have free actions because I screwed something up. I'm going to do my best to fix it.
We have a catchphrase in my gaming circle that now there will be an asterisk on the permanent record of this play, which is sort of code for A, we know we screwed something up, but B, who cares? Because it's not like we're not recording this in the annals of history.
Does BG Stats have an asterisk? You should ask them to do that.
I mean, I just put notes. I will leave a note in my BG set. Yep. In my app and put whoops, we did X.
That's a good idea.
By the way, Nathan is giving me crap in the chat room for not printing out the rules to Bonanza. And okay, fine. However, Bonanza is in my quiver, which doesn't have a lot of room for whole bunches of extra pages of paper. Okay. And I already know how to play the damn game. I just have to remember which beans to take out for player counts. I'm not going to
look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I have a smartphone with a nice big screen, damn it. If I need to look stuff up, I look it up and it takes a minute. I'm fine.
Have you seen those new binocular glasses he's got? I mean, he can.
Yeah, look at these suckers, man.
Those are cute. They're good.
Yeah, they turned out nice. You like my little dots? Hold on. You see the little dots?
I see those. Yeah.
What are those? What are the little dots?
Are magnets that hold sunglasses onto my real glasses, so that way I don't actually have to have clips.
Nice.
Oh, see, I'm looking at different glasses for 10, and
it's they're very fancy. They were also stupidly expensive, but I like them. And since I only have to buy glasses every few years, I don't feel too bad when blowing a little bit of extra money to make sure I can see well. So there you go. Yeah, I'm trying to think the worst rule that I ever got wrong that definitely tanked a game entirely. I know that the first couple times I taught High Frontier 3rd edition, which I'm almost not going to feel bad about, right? Because it's a Phil Eklund. Because those rule books, first off, his rule books are hot garbage, and secondly, the game itself is so freaking complex that like getting a rule wrong is almost miraculous if you don't. But I definitely remember getting a rule wrong the first time I taught my dad that game. And he just looked at me. He's like, "Are you kidding me right now? We've been playing for 4 hours and you got what wrong?" I'm like, "Shut up, Dad. Look, there's 5 rule books in this box. Okay. I'm really excited that I got most of the rules from like 2 of them. Leave me alone." So, but it caused him to not want to play the game again. Cause once he found out the real rule, he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to do that." I'm like,
sometimes the real world is worse, right? Like,
yes. So let's talk about that. Are there times when you've gotten a rule wrong and you found that you liked it your wrong way better than the real way?
Ooh.
Like, I still think, going back to the Power Grid example,
sorry.
I want everything in Power Grid to be on player order, right? Like, I don't want the auctions to go clockwise because it doesn't make sense. Everything should be in that same player order. Why suddenly decide that clockwise is the way to go at one point in one phase of the game? So I still would rather just do the auctions that way as well. But that's just me.
Yeah. I'm not going to switch it though because I'm the rules lawyer.
You got somebody that would get mad at you?
No, that's the way I am. I just
you are the rules lawyer.
I'm the rules lawyer. I like to play games by the rules.
That's fair.
Gotcha.
I don't like house rules.
I'm trying to look through my things and see.
So
I don't think I really house rule anything.
I have one game that we have house ruled the hell out of, and that's Gloomhaven. We have added a bunch of stuff to Gloomhaven that we feel like makes the game more enjoyable for our group. Like specifically, we allow the person, if your character summons a summoned creature in the game, we allow you to actually control the creature's movement, as opposed to making the creature follow the programmed AI that monsters use, which is what the rulebook says, because otherwise summons are, for all intents and purposes, completely useless in the game. Like, they just makes it a wasted card in your deck, and that's no fun. So we have house ruled that. We've house ruled, we make it so that way you can draw 2 battle goals and keep both of them and just only fulfill one of them by the end of the game, because you have no way of knowing what you are or aren't going to be able to do over the span of the thing, and those aren't any fun. We have a bunch of them like that, but I don't think there's too many where it really changes the game super fundamentally. And honestly, in a game like Gloomhaven, if I'm not going to enjoy playing it, I'm not going to get through 94 scenarios and therefore feel like I didn't waste a crap ton of money.
Sorry.
So I don't know.
Oh, I know. I organize cards in unlock games, and I don't think you're supposed to.
Really? So like, you're not supposed to sort the cards?
No, you're not.
I sort the cards
because that's part of the time.
Yeah,
is shuffling through them.
But either way, you're still spending the time, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you are, I guess.
Yeah. It might be slightly less time. I just can't stand things being out of order. It bothers me.
So wait a second. So
either I need to not hold them, or they have to be organized.
Got it. But I mean, do you like when you get the unlock game before you hit start on the timer? Do you sort them?
No, I do it during the game.
Okay, you sort them as you're playing.
That's what I'm saying. I'm still spending the time doing it. I don't pre-sort them, but I do organize them.
Right. So that's using up the time.
I'm still using.
I don't know. I wouldn't make a big deal about that one.
But it is a thing that I think it says you're not supposed to do. And again, I learned that's just how we've always done it. I was taught by, I don't know, the X or somebody, the first one I played probably. Sure. And then I was teaching Maho how to play them because I have a bunch of them to play through. And I was like, oh, I don't think you're supposed to sort these. I didn't know that. Well,
that's one of those things where, to me, it feels like I can't. Anybody that goes into an unlock or an exit or whatever and is super hyper competitive, that baffles me even more than a regular game does, right? Like honest to God games, okay, fine. There's a win condition and you can either meet it or not meet it. There is no win condition in those games. It's just how many stars did you get? How long did it take you? That's not, you don't lose if you didn't get it done in 60 minutes. You just don't get as many stars. Who gives a crap? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I have no idea.
I mean, so when I've played them with groups of people before, the first time we played, we didn't organize the decks, but there were 4 of us and we each took like a fourth of the pile. So that's also like speeding up I think it all probably gets close to evening out.
Yeah, for sure.
But I am too neurotic to have them out of order. I just can't. Like first thing I do is take the letters out. I'm like, letters to the side.
Sure. I mean, and to be fair, I feel like if you go in and do a regular escape room, like one of the strategies you're supposed to do is take stuff and sort it, right? Like take the things that you figured out and make a discard pile over here of these are all the locks we've opened, and you leave the keys in them so that way you don't fumble around with a key later on trying to figure out what the hell it goes to. Like you're supposed to do that kind of crap. So for a game to say, hey, no, don't do that, don't follow these really basic organizational steps that are going to keep things simple, just feels like the opposite of what those games are supposed to be doing. Yeah. My humble opinion.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Again, especially with cooperative games like that, where it's the whole table working together. I just don't care that much about
I prefer them at 2-player anyhow. So
the unlocks, I prefer them solo.
I think solo or 2-player. I think anything more than that's too many people.
Yeah, it gives you a fresh set of eyes to find those little tiny numbers.
That's the thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And trying to explain that to Maho up front was great. He was like, "What do you mean there's going to be tiny numbers?" And I was like, "Some of the cards
have tiny numbers
in the freaking art. There's going to be even in the swirl of a carpet."
Yeah, I know I'm teasing about those, but even the exit games, just you're thinking left and somebody thinks right.
Right. Yeah, exactly. No, that definitely is beneficial. Oh, I know a rules thing that is not a house rule that I do, but I tried to play the mind with people I kind of know at an event, and they had preset, like it's a group of people who play frequently. Like, okay, if your number is 5 above the one on the table, you wait 5 seconds.
That's cheating.
That's what I said. I didn't play. I was like, no, I'm not gonna play with you. That's cheating. That literally.
Oh no! I thought I heard that was actually a way to think of that. You come up with some mental counting system.
Look, I mean, you can for yourself, but you cannot agree as a group. Here is how we're going to count down. You're just supposed to make awkward eye contact and giggle.
Yeah.
Right. No.
There's a whole lot of giggling in your games.
Yeah.
So there's a tangent here. Hanabi. I always play what?
No.
Bill has house rules for Hanabi.
There's a lot of house rules in Hanabi that people use you about.
Yes.
I don't use. They are not house rules. They are play conventions, and that's different.
What's
because
the word? Game things that come out in games that aren't within the rules
emergent
of the game. Emergent play.
Like for instance, so I have the deluxe version with the mahjong looking tiles instead of cards. Okay, because my hands hurt. The cards make my hands hurt after a half an hour of holding my cards.
They have those classic card holder things.
Yeah, but I don't like
old
those.
People.
You know what I also have? The deluxe version with the mahjong tiles, so I can just set the fucking things on. I swore. There you go.
We're just harassing you, Bill. That's all.
Yeah,
you are. I mean, technically, it's been an hour. You're fine.
All right, fine. No, we have to start another stream for this. We'll talk about this in a second.
Oh, that's right. All right. But
I don't think of this as a house rule. I just always play the oldest tile that I have. Is the thing that I will discard, right? So if the tile has been sitting in my hand the longest, that's the thing I get rid of because players have had the most chances to give me information about it. I'm saying the oldest tile that I don't have info on. Right. That I have had people give me crap saying that is cheating, similar to what you're talking about in the mind, and I don't think it is at all. I think that's just playing smart. Yeah, that's just sort of how Hanabi works. And I've had people give me crap about it. I don't think that's a house rule.
It's more baseline deduction than it is.
Yeah, it's like, hey, here's a way to not play stupid, especially if you're me and you have the memory of a goldfish, right? Like I'm never going to remember this crap. If you don't let me like tip my tiles upwards and sideways and crap, so that way I have mnemonics to remember.
I'm going to say the same thing with your hand. You put it upside down or sideways if you know something. And
right, exactly. So I don't think that.
These people for the mind were like, okay, you've never played the mind with us before. Here's how we play it. If you see a 7 on the table and you have a 12, everybody's going to be counting in their head 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. And when you get to your next number, you know, like, and I was like, that's not even a flipping game anymore. You're literally just counting.
That's an exercise in
wonder
counting.
You win so frequently.
Mhm.
That's an exercise in can you count at the same speed as your friends?
And also, how is that fun?
It's not. That's what I was like.
What
this
part
is not
of that
enjoyable.
I don't understand how there would be fun.
That is the first time I have ever bowed out of a 5-minute game in my life before it started, of a game that I know that I can at least enjoy to some extent. It's not my favorite, but I'll play it. I was like, oh no, hard pass. Yeah, I don't want to play with you like this.
Yeah, no thanks. No thanks. That
I'll go over
sound
here. Thank you. Yeah. And they were cranky at me about it, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, I was gonna Chad, thank you. I'm pretty sure that the rules specifically say you're not supposed to count. Like I think that is that's rules as written. So yeah, I think that's wackadoodle. I don't like that. So all right. Well,
house rule.
Bill accidentally dropped an F-bomb. That means it must be time for us to switch over to the After Dark show. So everybody watching on YouTube, keep an eye on the channel. We're going to switch over in just a hot second. I have to start the other event. So sorry, we always have to end the first one and begin the second one. But before we do that, for those of you that will not be joining us in After Dark, the Cubist is a proud member of Punchboard Media,
where we all bring something to the table. We did it, kind of.
punchboardmedia.com for more awesome content, including back episodes of the Cubist. If you want to, you can just search for Cubist on there. By the way, we've had people ask. There's hosting issues, which is why the website is not currently. I actually sat down to try and update the website, the cubistpodcast.com. It's there, but it's not being updated at the moment, which is annoying. Sorry about that. We're getting there though. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If you're not joining us for After Dark, I hope you have a fantastic week of gaming. If you are, we will see you all in just a few minutes. Take care. Bye.
I'm gonna go change into a